Happy Easter season! This is the sixth in a series of videos with readings, music, and a message by Reverend Dr. M. William Howard to uplift your spirits during this time. This week we're featuring the Aperture Duo. They're performing a piece that I wrote for them inspired by Ashan Crawley's writings and his artwork. We hope that you enjoy this video, and happy Easter season to you all.
Psalm 66, verses 7 through 18. Bless our God, you peoples. Make the voice of his praise to be heard. Who holds our souls in life and will not allow our feet to slip? For you, O God, have proved us. You have tried us just as silver is tried. You brought us into the snare. You laid heavy burdens upon our backs. You let enemies ride over our heads. We went through fire and water, but you brought us out into a place of refreshment. I will enter your house with burnt offerings and will pay you my vows, which I promised with my lips and spoke with my mouth when I was in trouble. I will offer you sacrifices of fat beasts with the smoke of rams. I will give you oxen and goats. Come and listen, all you who fear God, and I will tell you what he has done for me. I called out to him with my mouth, and his praise was on my tongue. If I had found evil in my heart, the Lord would have not heard me. But in truth, God has heard me. He has attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be God who has not rejected my prayer, nor withheld his love from me.
A reading from Acts 17, verses 22 to 31. Paul stood in front of the Areopagus and said, Athenians, I see how extremely religious you are in every way. For as I went through the city and looked carefully at the objects of your worship, I found among them an altar with the inscription, To an unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, he who is Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in shrines made by human hands, nor is he served by human hands, as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mortals life and breath and all things. From one ancestor he made all nations to inhabit the whole earth, and he allotted the times of their existence and the boundaries of the places where they would live, so that they would search for God and perhaps grope for him and find him. Though indeed he is not far from each one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as even some of your own poets have said, for we too are his offspring. Since we are God's offspring, we ought not to think that the deity is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of mortals. While God has overlooked the times of human ignorance, now he commands all people everywhere to repent, because he has fixed a day on which he will have the world judged in righteousness by a man whom he has appointed. And of this he has given assurance to all by raising him from the dead. The word of the Lord.
By now, beloved, many people are beginning to ask, how on earth did the United States of America get here? Ostensibly, the greatest country in the world. How did we get here? With nearly 90,000 people dead, and the number is still rising. With no national strategy to test, track, and contain the spreading virus that is wreaking havoc on the nation and the world. Despite our wealth, our scientific expertise, and despite the fact that we had advance warning that could have prevented the tragic death of so many people. How did we get here? Why are the poor and vulnerable among us dying in such great numbers, disproportionately? Racial minorities, the elders and those who care for them in nursing homes, prison inmates, especially those who don't know the powerful and the wealthy. And why are the workers that plant and harvest and deliver our food to market, and our healthcare workers, those who collect our garbage, why are they paid so little for the vital work they do? We have known about this for very long, but the pandemic has shown us the danger, the foolishness of this, and how screwed up it is as a priority for a great nation. How did we get there? How did we arrive in this place? Is this the indelible character of the nation? Can we do no better? Are we wired in such a way that we are doomed to make decisions that come back to haunt us at the most inopportune time? Can we be redeemed? Can we really, really, change our ways? Perhaps we don't feel we have had enough suffering yet to change our ways. There are indeed folk who are so ideologically driven and callous that they are content to allow many more people to die, and they trust that the fittest will survive. Have you heard that notion bandied about? How did we get here? It's because we have been running with idols. I say running with idols. Luke has cautioned us in the 29th and 30th verse of the 17th chapter of Acts. He wrote, "Since we are God's offspring, we ought not to think that the deity is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of mortals. While God has overlooked the times of human ignorance," he goes on, "now he commands all people everywhere to repent." In other words, God is not fashioned by human beings. No, the true God is not fashioned by human beings. But any God that is will certainly lead those who follow it into a deep, dark hole. Man-made gods are idols. And truth be told, we honor these idols, we praise them above all else, even though we never confess it with our tongues. We do so with our actions. Martin King Jr. asserted that our idols in this country are racism, extreme materialism, and militarism. He called them the giant triplets, the drivers of our national purpose, when he spoke against the Vietnam War in 1967 at New York's Riverside Church. He believed in a revolution of values. He felt such a revolution was necessary if the nation were to live up to the promise of its creed. Now we know the nation has failed to hear his appeal, and the consequences have been exposed in the valley of this very despair in which we find ourselves today. It is now on vivid display as certain leading figures in our nation call upon us to reopen for business, they say, knowing full well that this will mean an even greater number of human casualties. Dr. King said his revolution of values would put people ahead of things. But now we see that things appear to reign supreme to some. But shouldn't the economy benefit people? Or is it the other way around? One's answer to this question will be determined by whether they have been running with idols, trusting in human-made gods, and not trusting in the eternal God of Easter and the resurrection. Luke wrote in the book that bears his name in chapter 16, verse 13, and here I quote, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve," and Luke is writing this, "both God and money, or God and power, or God and prestige, or God and personal aggrandizement. So resolutely, I declare today that the God of the resurrection we celebrated at Easter commands that we repent. God bless you.